Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast.
This is it, Chapter 140, An Uninhabited Castle.
An uninhabited castle that is about to get the most heartbreaking backstory we have had in this series to date. We finally learn why our little reindeer doctor is so afraid of people.
We've seen hints of it, but this chapter lays the cruelty of his world bare. It's one thing to be an outcast. It's another to be rejected by two different species.
Yeah, this one hits hard. If you've ever felt like you didn't have a place to belong, you know what Chopper's going through. And if this show is a place you feel like you belong, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a chapter breakdown with us.
It's the best way to make sure you're part of the crew.
All right, let's get into it. The chapter kicks off right where we left off, with Luffy, as usual, having the most straightforward, simple-brained idea possible.
He asks Dr. Kureha to join his pirate crew.
Of course he does. He sees a cool, strong, funny old lady who's a great doctor, and his brain just goes, yep, need that on my ship.
There's no calculation, no what's her bounty, just pure, unfiltered, I like you, come with us.
It's so pure. He's not thinking a doctor would be strategically advantageous for our journey. He's just thinking this person is awesome. It's the same energy as a kid on the playground asking another kid to be their best friend 5 minutes after meeting them. It's what makes him a super captain.
And her rejection is perfect. She doesn't just say no, she teases him, asking if he wants to know the secret to her youth. She's 139 years old and she acts like she's 30. She's on his level of chaos.
She totally is. She meets his energy. You get the sense that in another life, a younger Kureha would have absolutely said yes. She has that adventurous spirit. But while all this is happening, the real star of the arc makes his appearance. Chopper shows up in Nami's room.
And he is immediately spotted by the two members of the crew with the least self-control around potential food sources.
Emergency food supply. Luffy and Sanji's eyes just light up. They haven't had a good meal, they're in a frozen wasteland, and here's this talking reindeer. Their first thought isn't, wow, a talking reindeer, it's, wow, dinner.
It's a recurring gag, but let's analyze it for a moment. This gag is doing a lot of heavy lifting. On the surface, it's hilarious, but it's also a perfect reflection of the core conflict Chopper faces. Luffy and Sanji, our heroes, immediately categorize him as food, as a thing, not as a person.
That's so true. It's the exact same mistake the villagers made, just repackaged as a joke. They see a weird animal and their brains just short-circuit. They don't see the intelligence in his eyes, or the clothes he's wearing, or the fact that he's, talking.
It's a very primal reaction. Sanji is a chef. His entire worldview is filtered through the lens of ingredients and cuisine. Luffy is driven by instinct, and his primary instinct is hunger. It's not malicious, which is key. It's a form of ignorance. They simply cannot process the idea of a talking reindeer doctor as a potential peer.
It's so pure. He's not thinking a doctor would be strategically advantageous for our journey. He's just thinking this person is awesome. It's the same energy as a kid on the playground asking another kid to be their best friend 5 minutes after meeting them. It's what makes him a super captain.
And her rejection is perfect. She doesn't just say no, she teases him, asking if he wants to know the secret to her youth. She's 139 years old and she acts like she's 30. She's on his level of chaos.
She totally is. She meets his energy. You get the sense that in another life, a younger Kureha would have absolutely said yes. She has that adventurous spirit. But while all this is happening, the real star of the arc makes his appearance. Chopper shows up in Nami's room.
And he is immediately spotted by the two members of the crew with the least self-control around potential food sources.
Emergency food supply. Luffy and Sanji's eyes just light up. They haven't had a good meal, they're in a frozen wasteland, and here's this talking reindeer. Their first thought isn't, wow, a talking reindeer, it's, wow, dinner.
It's a recurring gag, but let's analyze it for a moment. This gag is doing a lot of heavy lifting. On the surface, it's hilarious, but it's also a perfect reflection of the core conflict Chopper faces. Luffy and Sanji, our heroes, immediately categorize him as food, as a thing, not as a person.
That's so true. It's the exact same mistake the villagers made, just repackaged as a joke. They see a weird animal and their brains just short-circuit. They don't see the intelligence in his eyes, or the clothes he's wearing, or the fact that he's, talking.
It's a very primal reaction. Sanji is a chef. His entire worldview is filtered through the lens of ingredients and cuisine. Luffy is driven by instinct, and his primary instinct is hunger. It's not malicious, which is key. It's a form of ignorance. They simply cannot process the idea of a talking reindeer doctor as a potential peer.
And Kureha's reaction is everything. She goes from 0 to 100 in a split second. She doesn't just say no, she starts throwing scalpels and axes. That's my assistant.
That line, my assistant, is so important. The way she defends him is so fierce. She's not just her mentor or her boss, she's her protector, establishing her role in this story as much more than just a doctor.
She's so protective of him. She's this tough-as-nails doctor who seems like she doesn't care about anything, but the second someone threatens Chopper, she's ready to throw down. You see where Chopper gets his medical knowledge, but you also see where he gets the idea of what a caring heart looks like, even if it's buried under a gruff exterior.
Chopper manages to lose them in the chase and makes his way back to Nami's room. He's there to take care of her, to do his job as a doctor. This is his safe space, his purpose.
And Nami, man, Nami is just the emotional core of the crew sometimes. She's been through hell herself. She knows what it's like to be misunderstood, to be seen as something you're not. She sees him looking at the Straw Hat flag. She sees the curiosity and the longing in his eyes. She gets it. She sees past the fur and the antlers.
She does what Luffy and Sanji failed to do. She engages with his personhood. She doesn't comment on his appearance or question what he is. She sees someone with a dream, someone looking at a symbol of freedom, and she connects with that. Her own entire life has been a struggle for the freedom that flag represents.
Exactly. And that's why she's the one to ask. She doesn't shout it across the room. She just says it, simply and genuinely. She asks him to join, just like that. A simple, direct invitation.
It is the first time in his life anyone has ever invited him to be a part of a human group. Not as a pet, not as a monster to be hunted, but as an equal, as a comrade.
She's the first one to do it, the first person to see him not as a monster, not as food, but as a potential Nakama, a friend. You can see the shock on his little face. He doesn't even know how to process the offer.
But he turns her down. His reasoning is just devastating. He says he's a reindeer. He says he can't be involved with humans.
It's not that he doesn't want to. You can see it in his face. It's that he thinks he can't. He's been told his whole life that he doesn't belong with people, so he just accepts it as a fact. It's like a law of nature to him. The sky is blue, water is wet, and I don't belong with people.
And then he says the line, besides, I'm a monster. He believes it. That line is doing so much work. He's not just a reindeer, he's something other, something that shouldn't exist. He has internalized the fear and hatred from both reindeer and humans and made it his identity.
It breaks your heart. He doesn't say it with anger or resentment. He says it with a sad resignation. It's a fact he's learned to live with. He's not just hiding from people because he's shy. He's hiding because he thinks he's protecting them from himself.
It's a profound psychological wound. The belief that your very existence is wrong or dangerous, it's something so many people in the real world struggle with. Oda is tapping into a very deep, very real human, or in this case, reindeer, experience.
And just as this heavy, devastating moment is landing, who bursts in?
Luffy and Sanji, of course, still on the hunt.
The timing is perfect Oda comedy. It shatters the tension, but also reinforces the problem. The very humans he's afraid of are literally trying to hunt him down in that exact moment. From Chopper's point of view, his fear is 100% justified. He just called himself a monster, and 2 seconds later, 2 guys are screaming about cooking him over a fire. Of course he runs.
It's tragic comic. The scene is funny, but it confirms all of Chopper's worst fears. It proves his point for him. See, this is what humans are like. This is why I can't be with them.
After he's gone, Kureha comes in. She's overheard the conversation. She's been listening the whole time, this wise old woman just observing.
She seems to have a sixth sense for these things. She knew this moment was coming. She understood what Nami's offer would mean to Chopper and what his rejection would reveal about his past.
And she gives Nami the truth. She says she has no objection to Chopper leaving with them. In fact, she seems to almost want it for him, but she knows how hard it will be. She knows he's trapped in a prison of his own past trauma.
She says his scars are something not even a doctor can fix.
That line chills. This is coming from arguably the greatest doctor in the world. She's admitting that there are wounds medicine can't touch. Emotional wounds, psychological wounds, the kind of wounds that only a real family, a real sense of belonging can heal.
It's one of the most important thematic statements in all of One Piece. This entire series is about people finding the cure for their pasts. For Nami, it was freedom from Arlong. For Sanji, it was finding the All Blue and escaping his family. For me, it was finding a place where my existence wasn't a crime. Kureha is verbalizing the central mission of the Straw Hat crew. They aren't just adventurers, they are healers of the soul.
Super well said. And Kureha knows she can't be that cure for him. She can be his mother, she can protect him, but she can't give him a place in the wider world. He needs to find that for himself, with people his own age who are charging headfirst into that world.
And then she tells Nami why. She lays out Chopper's entire life story, and it is just one tragedy after another.
It starts from the moment he was born. He had a blue nose. That's it. Just a slight genetic difference. And for that, his entire herd, even his own parents, shunned him. They made him an outcast because he looked a little different.
The cruelty is so simple and so profound. It's prejudice in its most basic form. He was born wrong in their eyes. There was nothing he could do. So from his very first moments, his only experience with a group, with a family, was rejection.
It's awful. They made him trail at the very back of the herd all alone. Can you imagine being a little kid and your own parents won't even walk with you? It's no wonder he has such deep-seated trust issues. His foundation was built on sand.
He was completely alone, and then, trying to find some way to survive or connect, he ate a devil fruit.
The Hito no Mi, the human fruit.
Okay, but think about what this means. A reindeer eats the human fruit. Thematically, it's perfect. It's the ultimate story of an animal who wants to be a person, who wants to connect. But the power isn't a perfect solution. It's a curse.
It's the cruelest joke. He gets the ability to become more human, and it just makes him more of a monster to everyone around him. His own kind, the reindeer, are now terrified of this shape-shifting creature that can stand on two legs and talk. They see him as an aberration, a freak of nature, and they chase him away for good.
It brings up fascinating questions about the nature of devil fruits. We've seen them grant incredible powers, but here, the power itself becomes the source of his alienation. Have you ever considered, Franky, what would happen if a human ate the Hito no Mi?
I've thought about it. Would anything happen? Or would they become like a more enlightened human, a perfect human? Or maybe they just wouldn't be able to swim anymore. Knowing Oda, it'd probably be something goofy, like they just become super good at understanding other people's feelings.
Or perhaps they would achieve a higher state of being, like the Buddha form that Fleet Admiral Sengoku would later display. The fruit grants the user the qualities of a human, which in a philosophical sense could mean intelligence, empathy, and spirit. For a reindeer, it grants him those things. For a human, perhaps it would amplify them. It's a mystery.
Whatever it is, for Chopper, it was a disaster. It took him from outcast to full-blown monster in the eyes of his herd. He lost the only connection he had, even if it was a terrible one.
So he's been rejected by his own species. His only option left is to try and join the other species he now has a connection to. Humans.
And you can just picture it, this scared, lonely kid using his new power to try and make friends. He walks into a human village, probably in a form that's not quite right, still has some of his reindeer features, still has that blue nose. He probably walked in on two legs trying to look like them, maybe even trying to speak to them.
And the humans react with fear and violence. They see a monster. They call him the abominable snowman. They shoot at him. They don't try to understand. They don't show curiosity. They immediately resort to aggression because he is different.
It's brutal. The one thing he wanted, connection, was denied to him by both sides. The reindeer thought he was a weird reindeer. The humans thought he was a monster. He had nowhere to go. He belonged absolutely nowhere. He was an entire species of one.
This is the source of the wound Kureha spoke of. He tried to belong to two different worlds, and both violently cast him out. This is why he calls himself a monster. It's the only label that everyone has agreed upon.
Until one person. Kureha says only one man ever reached out to him, a doctor named Hiruluk.
That name just hangs in the air. Dr. Hiruluk. We don't know who he is yet, but he's clearly the key to everything for Chopper. He's the one who showed him kindness when the entire world showed him cruelty. He must be the person who taught Chopper not only medicine, but the very concept of compassion.
He's the original, the one who broke the cycle of violence and fear. Whatever happened to him, you just know it's going to be the emotional core of this whole arc.
This entire backstory recontextualizes everything about Chopper. His shyness, his quickness to hide, the way he reverses his hiding spot. It's not just a personality quirk. It's a survival mechanism born from a lifetime of trauma. He's literally been hunted his entire life.
Exactly. And while we're processing all of this incredibly heavy emotional information, the chapter cuts back to Luffy and Sanji. They're still bumbling around the castle.
And they realize the castle is freezing. Snow is blowing in because the main entrance has just been left wide open.
So they do the logical thing. They go to shut this massive door to stop the blizzard from coming inside. Seems simple enough. Just two guys pushing a door. It's such a mundane action after the epic tragedy we just heard.
But as they're pushing it, this huge, monstrous shape appears and shoves the door back open.
It's Chopper, but it's not the little Chopper we've been seeing. This is his heavy point, his full-on combat form. He looks big, intimidating, muscular. He looks exactly like the monster the villagers thought he was.
The framing is perfect. For a second, you think he's attacking them. It looks like a confrontation. He's blocking their path, using his immense strength against them. Luffy and Sanji are braced for a fight. The audience is meant to feel that tension.
But then they look up. They see why he's holding the door open. On the very top of the door, completely exposed to the elements if it were to close, is a tiny nest full of baby birds.
And it all clicks into place. The entire narrative of the chapter crystallizes in this one silent image.
Super. This is the moment. This is what makes a Straw Hat. Right after we hear about how the world judged him for his monstrous appearance, we see him use that monstrous appearance to protect the smallest, most helpless creatures imaginable.
His actions completely contradict his form. He looks like a beast, but his heart is so unbelievably gentle. He's willing to let the entire castle freeze, to endure the bitter cold himself, just so this one little bird family can be safe. He is taking on a burden to protect the weak.
This is where Luffy and Sanji stop seeing dinner. They stop seeing a weird talking animal. They see him. They see who Chopper really is, a kind, selfless person who will stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves. This isn't just a nice gesture. This is a profound statement of character.
It's the same moral fiber we saw in Luffy when he protected the little dog Choo-Choo in Orangetown. The same thing we saw in Zoro when he took a slash from Mihawk for his captain. The same thing we saw in Sanji when he fed a starving pirate who tried to kill him. It is the defining quality of this crew.
Yes, it's that protective instinct. Sanji, who would never let anyone starve, sees someone protecting a family. Luffy, who values freedom and life above all else, sees someone protecting the lives of these tiny birds. In that moment, the emergency food gag dies. It has to, because they can no longer see him as a thing. They see a person they respect.
That's the Pirate King quality, isn't it? The same impulse that makes Luffy stand up for Kobe or for Nami's village. Chopper has it in his core. He may not have a grand ambition like finding the One Piece or the All Blue, but he has the heart of a king.
He's one of them. He just doesn't know it yet. This is the moment the recruitment of Tony Chopper actually begins. Everything before this was just a prologue.
It also confirms he's a devil fruit user to them. They see him transform with their own eyes. There's no more doubt about what he is. He's a Zoan type, just like they are pirates. He's part of the strange, powerful world.
I love it. Oda gives us this gut-wrenching story about why he's an outcast, and then immediately follows it up with a scene that proves exactly why he deserves to be part of the Straw Hat crew. It's perfect storytelling. He shows, he doesn't just tell. We don't just hear the Chopper is kind, we see him being kind at great personal discomfort.
We also learned a strange little detail in this chapter. It looks like Robson, the leader of the Lapons, can walk vertically up the side of the castle.
Right. Just a casual detail about the giant hyper-aggressive snow rabbits. They can just ignore gravity. This island is full of monsters, and Chopper is the most gentle soul on it. It's a great bit of environmental storytelling. It reinforces how dangerous this place is, which makes Chopper's kindness even more of a standout trait.
It's a nice little piece of world building. Drum Kingdom is just a fundamentally harsh and strange place to live. It makes you wonder what other bizarre wildlife exists on other islands in the Grand Line.
This chapter is just, it's foundational. This is why we're going to love Chopper forever. It's all laid out right here. His pain, his kindness, and the found family that's about to save his life.
And he's going to save theirs in turn, as their doctor. The crew needs him just as much as he needs them. It's a truly symbiotic relationship that's about to form.
I can't wait. He just needs to accept it first, and that's going to take a heck of a push from a certain rubber-brained captain.
That's the journey. Learning to accept that you deserve a place in the world. Learning that the labels others put on you don't have to be your identity.
Man, what a chapter. If Chopper's story of protecting the weak even when he's hurting resonates with you, do us a favor and drop a like on the video. Let the algorithm know that kindness is king. Now, predictions. What do you think is coming in chapter 141?
Okay, I've got a few. First, Luffy is going to ask Chopper to join the crew again, but this time it's going to be different. It's not going to be a whim like it was with Kureha. It's not going to be a gag like the emergency food bit. He's seen Chopper's heart, and he is going to be dead serious. He will not take no for an answer this time.
That feels right. The context has completely changed. Luffy's respect has been earned. He's not recruiting a talking reindeer anymore. He's recruiting Chopper. What's your second?
My second prediction is that Wapol is about to make his move. We've had a lot of character-focused chapters setting the stage inside the castle. The pacing demands an external threat now. The crew is scattered, Nami is still recovering, and they've just discovered this amazing doctor. Wapol is going to attack the castle to reclaim it, and it's going to force Chopper into a real crisis where he has to use his medical skills to save one of the Straw Hats, probably Nami, or a newly injured Sanji.
A trial by fire, forcing him to choose a side. I like it. It pushes his development forward through action. And for my third, I think we're going to see another one of Chopper's points. We've seen his small form, his walking form, and now his big heavy point. He clearly has multiple transformations. A fight with Wapol's forces would be the perfect time to reveal another one. Maybe a speed-focused form or a defensive one, showing off just how versatile and valuable he is as a fighter, not just a doctor. What about you, Robin?
My first prediction is that the next chapter, or a large part of it, will be the Dr. Hiruleuk flashback. Kureha opened the door to that story, and it feels like the immediate next step. We need to understand who this man was to fully understand Chopper's dream, his connection to medicine, and why he holds such a pessimistic view of the world, despite meeting one kind person. We need to know what happened to Hiruleuk.
Oh, absolutely. We have to get that story. It's too important. It's the missing piece of the puzzle. It's going to hurt, isn't it?
I suspect it will be one of the more tragic stories we've encountered so far. Second, I think Wapol will not attack the Straw Hats directly at first. He'll go for the villagers. He is a king who despises his own people. He'll use them as leverage to try and get Kureha and Chopper out of the castle, reestablishing his tyranny and forcing Luffy to make a choice about who he's fighting for on this island. It's not just about getting a doctor anymore. It's about liberating a country.
using the citizens against them. That feels very Wapol. Classic scumbag move. Luffy hates that kind of thing more than anything. It's the same playbook Arlong used.
And my final prediction, Dalton will make a move. He's been stewing since his defeat. He carries the will of the former kind king. I think he's going to rally what's left of the old guard and the villagers who are fed up with Wapol's tyranny. He'll stage a rebellion from within the town, creating a two-front problem for Wapol and showing the Straw Hats that they have allies on this island.
I love that. A pincer movement on that tin can tyrant. Okay, those are some solid predictions. I feel like we're on the cusp of this arc really kicking into high gear.
The pieces are all in place. The emotional core has been established, the villain is on his way, and the heroes have found their reason to fight. All that's left is for them to collide.
And when they do, it's gonna be a super snow-filled showdown. That's all the time we have for this week. Join us next time as we dive into chapter 141.
Until then, may you find the crew where you belong.